Well, it probably says something, Mark, about how tight the league is, but if you beat Wycombe tomorrow, you go above them in the table. All very close in there.
It is really close, yeah. I think when you look across the whole thing, I mean, I think it was the other week against the Shrewsbury game, I said, like, the late goal for them was a 7-place swing. And the points between quite a lot of positions is really tight. So I think it's in that stage of the season where anywhere in this next sort of third of the season, probably consecutive wins at any point will do you really well. So that's obviously what we'll be fighting for, as many wins in the next block of games as we can get, knowing that that's a tough one tomorrow and a difficult game and a good opposition that have been in, played a lot of the top teams recently and scored goals in those games. So showing the threats that they've got, but certainly a game that we're looking to try and continue the good work of last week in. But yeah, like you say, the league table is very tight. And the next period is going to be very interesting to see what happens. Actually, our league games now start to thin out a little bit with the cup games in between. But what we know is that we've got in the next couple of league games 2 of the teams that would be expecting to be at the top end. We've got a number of away games coming, and we're going to need to be at our very best to be competitive in them.
With Wycombe, do you see them as retaining a lot of their strengths from previous seasons? Clearly, Matty Bloomfield knows the club inside out.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, number one, a lot of the players, or a number of the players, are still in situ. Matt has obviously played under Gareth in the long period that he was there. But you wouldn't want to say that they're identical, because he's got his own way of doing things. But when a culture is fairly ingrained in a club and it's a strength of theirs, and something works, you don't want to go too far away from it. So I think that they've got the basics of what they have been. Very, very hard to beat. Really aggressive team that you've got to be physical against, and you have to come out on top in physical battles. You have to defend your box well. All of those things are very true. But that can be an unfair reflection, or sometimes there can be a perception that is a certain type and a certain way. They've got really good footballers in their team as well. They're athletic, but they've got some good footballers throughout that they've signed in the summer to add to the squad. So I think they've got a little bit of everything about them, and they're a high scoring team on set plays, so that's something that we'll need to be good at as well. But also we know that there's some vulnerabilities and frailties to them, and defensively they've given chances up this year. We've got to go there and make sure we're a creative team, that we threaten them and make them defend their box as much as they'll want to make us defend ours, for sure.
You've spoken with the past couple of games being really pleased with the off-the-ball work, eyeing some areas for improvement on the ball. I guess depending on the nature of the game, that can really vary. In some matches it will be all about having the sharp, quick, incisive play on the break, making the most of your opportunities. And then in other matches where you see a lot of the ball, it's having that patience and the guile, I suppose, to break sides down.
Yeah, a little bit of all of those. I think in either type of games there will always be moments when you regain the ball and the opposition aren't in great shape behind it, so there'll always be an element of counter-attack to every game, and some games more so than others. But we've got to be more concise and incisive with our passing in those moments to create chances off those attacking situations. And then the periods where we have the ball and the other team are in good shape behind it, being clever enough and calm enough to find the right pass, to find where the overload is, to recognise where the spaces are that we can attack, and get to positions that allow us to serve the box in crossing scenarios or get shots away in certain situations and not overplay in the top third of the pitch. All those things are probably apparent in both games. I think both opportunities will be there for us tomorrow. The context of the game obviously swings when goals are scored, but I think there'll be elements of the game tomorrow where we have to do both of those things well, and we'll need to be a level up from where we've been with the ball in recent weeks to win the game. But we've got players that can do it, and we've got a defensive record to protect and hold on to, as well as adding that other side to the game.
With the team selection, I guess it's a fairly obvious thing to say that a lot's gone into the past 2 matches, so you've got to have that in mind for tomorrow night. Definitely,
a huge physical work from the team in recent couple of games. We've seen from the weekend how good we've got the competition for players to come into the team, and I really want it to be competitive. I want players to understand that they've got a part to play, and it's one of our mantras is that it's all in, and we've got to all contribute towards winning performances, whether that's from the start or from within the game. So we've got to try and find both of those. We've got to get the balance right tomorrow of continuity from what's gone well, but freshness and players that can reinvigorate us and give us a little bit of life. So we'll make changes tomorrow in order to give us that. But I'm looking forward to seeing those that get their opportunity tomorrow really step up and look to claim their position as a real starter in the team and try and influence the game and give us the same energy and quality without the ball that we've had, and see if they can make a difference for us with the ball.
Yeah, you were talking about sticking with the same side at the weekend. There must be so many times as a manager where you really don't know whether you've made the right or the wrong decision, or the only thing that decides it is where you end up at the final whistle. Really, it's so black and white, isn't it? You can make a really good argument both ways, but the result in the end dictates it.
Yeah, and in the end, like, the variables can be so big, and the score lines are usually low-scoring games. So it's a really easy thing. Like, as a manager, you just have to live in the world where you're only right if you win. When actually you go into much more depth than that, and that's not always fair or always true. But like, there's pointless arguing against people that don't that their opinion is stronger than your fact. So in the end, you just got to say, yeah, fine. If you win, you got it right, and even then, sometimes not. And if you lose, you got it wrong. You just live in that world as a manager. That's okay. That you have to deal with that. But internally, you deal with it a little bit more than that. In the end, we have to win and put in decisions that help that, for sure. But you never make a decision for anything other than the right intention or the right reason, whether that is sometimes information and ideas that people aren't privy to and can't always be privy to, or just because you feel like there's a certain reason why, and whether it's freshness or shape or tactical. There can be lots of reasons for making those decisions. In the end, yeah, like you say, in the snapshot of a game, usually the decision of whether it's right or wrong is judged by the result. But probably over the 46 games, you're trying to make sure that the balance of the number of results you get over a longer period is right.
Is it really important to be at peace with that? Because people will do what I've just done all the time and say it's black and white. If you win, you win. You lose, you lose. Is that something you feel you've had from day one, being able to take the fact that it's many shades of grey into account?
I think I have. I've good perspective and fairly good emotional intelligence and temperament, so that helps. It doesn't mean you're right all the time. Obviously, it means you make lots of wrong decisions. But I think being at peace with the fact that, in 46 games you're not winning 46. So therefore, keeping perspective over a 46 game season, that you have good spells, bad spells, good days, bad days. The reasons why you can not get the right result could be things that have been completely out of your control, or could just be bad decisions from individuals or from myself or from team selection or players not taking opportunities. All those things can happen. There's so many variables in that situation. In the end, you live your whole life, we do in our world, to work every day to try and find solutions to win games. And when it works, it's great. When it doesn't, it's pants. And you have to cope with that and wait for your next opportunity. But the feeling Saturday, when we end the week with 4 brilliant points, 2 good performances, 2 clean sheets, it's a great feeling to go into this week. It's hardly joyous, because it just means you don't feel like you did the week before, and you get ready for the next game very quickly because it comes around so fast. But we've got to go to Wycombe and be brilliant to get something from the game, and be exceptional if we want to win it. But we're actually capable of both of those things. So that's the task. Go there and deliver that.
Without giving away any details you don't want to give away, you're looking all right on the injury front?
Yeah, everyone came through the weekend absolutely fine, so we're good in that sense. Will Mannion's been back in today, so obviously he was sick and he's carrying a bit of illness, but I think everybody's fighting through that a little bit at the moment. Everyone I know in the world seems to be ill at the minute, so there's certainly lots of that going around, and we've had plenty of it around the place in the last few weeks, but we just get on with it and deal with it and try and get the most out of everybody. But we expect everybody available that was with us at the weekend, so that gives us a full team to pick from, which is good.
I know he's still got a fair bit of work to do. Is Kachunga getting on all right?
He is, yeah. He's chipping away quite nicely. He's still with the physios out on the grass. But he's building up his speed and his work, and we hope to integrate him into some training this week, next week. But he's probably halfway through his recovery, so we're still a few weeks away from seeing him back in the squad, but he's making good progress at the moment.
Brilliant, that's great for me.
Hi Mark, just on the injury front as well, how's Adam May getting along? Is he now in a position where you'd say he's fully fit and available, or do you still need to manage his minutes?
Yeah, no, fully free from all his problems. Obviously, when you miss a pre-season, you haven't played much. How much he's fully fit, I don't know. We'll find out as games go on. But we've obviously started him in games, so we've got no concerns with him. He's available to play as and when we choose to use him now.
Do you see the cup games, the game against Bracknell and Spurs, as good opportunities for him to get big minutes?
Potentially, yeah. We'll see what happens for tomorrow with who plays and who comes through the game. We haven't planned those games at all. It's certainly good opportunity in the trophy game to play players that haven't played, but that competition's a bit dead to us at the moment with the way the league table looks. But the Bracknell game will be one we'll pick the best team we can, and we choose to win the game. We want to progress in the competition, so. I think that the trophy game's an opportunity for those that need minutes and are a bit behind to get them is definitely the right case, and he's one that may do in those, but we'll just see where we're at as time goes on.
And by the sounds of it, Will Mannion's okay for tomorrow, but you mentioned about James Holden being injured and he's out on loan at Welling as well. What's the situation with him at the moment?
He's injured his ankle, so I don't know how bad that is. He'll be out for a little bit of time. We're waiting on some results for that, but yeah, he's unavailable at the minute.
Will he be coming back to you, or does he stay with Welling for the next month or so? No,
he's with us for his treatment, so until he's fit, he can't do anything, but he's not fit to train. He'll be out for a few weeks, I think.
Okay. Just in terms of, we've mentioned about the attacking side of the game recently, and you mentioned it as well on Saturday. Do you acknowledge that fundamentally the goal return just needs to improve? You've been light on goals recently, haven't you?
Yeah, we need to score 100 goals if we can. We've got to score more than we have, because that's the only way you can win. So the improvements that we want to make will be working really hard on. But we've got loads of players that can do that, lots of players that can contribute and can score. So as long as we keep creating moments, and we've got to become a bit more creative to create those situations, that's the task for us all to try to improve. And the task for the players when they play is to find the best level of how executing certain moments that we get, because we've had lots of chances to create chances in the last few games. But whether we're going to get to Paul Mullin, Wes Houlihan levels, I'm not so sure. But we've got to score enough goals that gets us the right side of results. So we've got players that are working really hard and have got the ability to score. And the more that come in and take their chance when they get it, it keeps the pressure on and the competition on everybody else. So just like we want to maintain and improve lots of different areas of the game, that's one that we want to improve, and everybody's working hard to try and do it. So no real stress from me. I'm sure we can be a team that does that and will over time.
And just for a few players on the fringes at the minute, the younger players, the likes of Mamadou Joe, Lewis Simper, Glenn McConnell and so on, why haven't they gone out on loan? What's the thinking regarding keeping them at the club at the moment?
Loads of games. So when the games settle down, we'll look into that, but that's not something we're considering right now. We've got a lot of games coming up. We need to get through this period and make sure everybody's fit and we've got good competition. And when the games thin out, as we've said all along, there'll be loans at some point, but not yet.